I'm a beautiful creature. I don't care about your mother time preachers. Bakakumaku, 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 I'm not your toy, stupid guy. I am training for Eurovision, you see, because you need to have some balls to sing a song like that. It is stunning and brave, because you can get fired. You can get an angry mob on the Twitter going like, what do you mean by you're not our toy and you're calling us stupid guys? I mean, I'm copying from the best, what can I say? I just need to change a little bit here and there so that the homework doesn't look the same. I want to go to Eurovision now. I want to go because I understand I have a bigger chance of winning now that Hungary pulled out without leaving a kid in there. Romania's chances to win have dramatically increased. Less competition. So why did Hungary decide to pull? Well, apparently, according to their prime minister, the show is too gay. And this is for the taste of the country's far-right, Hitleresque government and public media bosses. So, for some unexpected reason, we don't know why. No, they're bigots. They are the bigots. They decided that they're going to launch a family-first policy. In order at helping traditional families and boost birth rates. That's not how you boost birth rates, you idiots. You just open the borders and allow immigration in. It's a lot faster than pushing birth rate. But anyway, right, so, no, that is so far right, isn't it? Like pushing, but doing what the Japanese are trying to do. Horrible. But anyway, right, so, apparently earlier this year, the Speaker of the Hungarian Parliament compared same-sex adoption to pedophilia. While a pro-government television commentator referred to Eurovision as a homosexual flotilla and said not participating would benefit the nation's mental health. A source inside the Hungarian public broadcaster told The Guardian that while no reason was communicated internally for the decision to withdraw from the contest, the assumption among employees was that Eurovision's association with the LGBTQ LMNOP culture was behind the move. It was not surprised it comes from the organization culture, and said the source, adding that positive coverage of LGBT rights as the media holding was discouraged, save for the annual Budapest Pride. Public media in Hungary is closely linked to the government. Public media in Hungary is closely linked to the government. So literally like everywhere else in the world. And has been instrumented in spreading its message around migration and other issues. See, it goes hand in hand. If you are homophobic, you are against immigration. Both are horrible. Do you know, by the way, just to clarify, do you know that Karl Marx wrote that the Irish workers are there to undermine the English workers? And I was like, holy shit, it's like there were people in the same empire, like just by moving people at the time, the left seen like, well, this kind of undermines the world. This is Karl Marx we're talking about, right? We're not talking about some Adam Smith fellow. No, Adam Smith was the one that's like immigration is good and the world needs to go round. And it's a little bit shocking now to see the left being on board with Adam Smith. But anyway, so the Hungarian website quoted unnamed sources inside public media speculating that the reason for withdrawal was likely that Eurovision was deemed too gay. Now, I'm not a bigot. I love gay people. I love gay people. And I want gay people to come to Eastern Europe. And I don't want them to read The Guardian and think that if they come to Eastern Europe, there is some sort of danger that gay people are not welcomed here, or heaven forbid. So I'll tell you the down low with how it's like in Eastern Europe and places like Hungary, okay? If you're gay, you can do the ficky, no one gives a shit. I mean, if you're in a city, literally no one gives a shit. If you're in an urban community, maybe you're going to get the stink eye or some people that go like, eh. But other than that, though, you're not going to receive any sort of physical violence, okay? Chances are you're a lot safer here than you're in the Middle East. So the question is then, why is Eastern Europe bigoted? Well, it's not the community that's at fault, as usually. The community is fine, filled with decent, upstanding, moral people. The problem is the activists, which aren't elected by the community, do not poll the community, and are utter cancer. So let's talk about my country, for example, so you can understand the gay situation here. Communists, the socialists, have criminalized gayness in my country. They have made a law saying that if two people fuck and they are of the same sex, they go to jail. Horrible, right? And after the communist regime fell, we abolished that law. We said, no, people should have a right to love whoever they want. How did they say it? Love is love. Love is love. Of course, right? So it is legal here, but it's not legal to marry yet. I think you can take a plane ticket to France, which would cost like $200, and get married there. And then when you come back in Romania, your marriage is recognized. But you can't actually marry on the territory of Romania because it is forbidden by a Romanian law. Now, the Constitution doesn't mention anything about this. The Constitution is neutral on this matter. So, at any point, a lawmaker that didn't campaign on changing gay people's rights to vote or not can just change it. So basically, if my party would win the elections, and I would say, if I get elected, I will stop the deforestation of Romania. And a lot of people vote for me, right? And when I finally get into office, the first thing I do is like, I'm going to allow gay people to get married. People will be like, what? Hey, aren't you going to ask us? No. So someone made a referendum that said that the Constitution should mention that marriage is between a man and a woman, which what this would do is that if any party would want to change the legality of gay marriage, they should ask the people first. You should put it up to a people's vote, to a referendum. And if the referendum passes, because society has become very progressive and everyone is now on board with the issue, that's fine. Basically, more voting rather than less. And at this referendum, a young church choir girl by the name of Laura Breton has shocked the entire country by voting at the referendum that she is in favor of the traditional family. This church choir girl voted in a conservative manner. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked, I'm telling you. Absolutely shocked. I was like, oh, really? Oh my God, how is this possible? Wow, religious people being in favor of the... No, absolutely not. Is she a Muslim? No. How can you explain that? How can you explain that? So a couple of years later, she goes and runs for Eurovision. And she sings there. She sings. And she wins. She wins the hearts of mind of the public. She's like a neocon. Hearts and minds. 92% of people voted for her. So you need to understand, when you vote for this competition, it costs money. Like, that's one way they make revenue. When you text them, it costs some cents that go towards the competition. So you voting for someone means you're losing money. You're actually participating in this, right? And 92% of Romanians have voted for this girl. 92% of the audience have voted for this girl. But fortunately for this little bigoted country, the jury wasn't even a Romanian jury. It was an international jury made by proeminent bloggers and opinion influencers. Basically people who don't get elected and then just claim they represent someone or something. It's like self-appointed stewards of minorities is what I like to call them. So they changed the rules of the competition. The way it works is that the jury has 50% of the vote and the judges have 50% of the vote. And when you get 92% of the public vote, it's impossible for the judges to overturn that vote. But they did. They did, because the girl is a bigot and she is a church singing choir girl, which apparently is in favor of the traditional family, so she couldn't be allowed to win. And as such, the jury decided that someone else should win, that is more LGBT friendly. And this is why a lot of people don't like Eurovision anymore, because it's not about the songs. It's not about the audience. It is a scam. Like, if I'm going to pay money in order to vote for someone, and you're going to choose whoever you want to vote, you're going to have this authoritarian democracy going on, It's basically people get to feel like they participate in the elections, but the moment people vote wrong, the council of elders step in and go like, no, you voted incorrectly. This is the correct way to vote. Now carry on, keep on voting. Yeah, so people legitimately here, the ones that I speak with, even the most leftist people, do not like Eurovision anymore. Because it's not a competition that's about the songs, it's a competition that's about politics. And if I want to watch politics, I tune in on the news, I read the press. But when I watch Eurovision, it's my free time. I want to unwind and I want to forget about everything in the world and just enjoy some songs. So that when I go out and I talk to girls, I at least have some subject of conversation with them. Because I can't talk to them about Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. But I can't talk about singer Laura Breton's performance. And it's not only that, gay activists, again, not gay people, right? Not the gay community. No, the activists. They think that when they're in the West, what they're saying is in a vacuum. But people here do hear. I know it's like, Romania, that far secluded place where like the watchers on the wall. But eventually the news gets to us. And when you are a prominent figure in the public spotlight, saying things like be gay, do socialism, and the platform bigots, people here start to associate gayness with socialism. Socialism, that ideology that killed millions in my country, that my grandmother still tells me how relatives of her family were imprisoned for wrongthing and never came out of the gulag, or how her entire village was sacked by the Red Army and they encircled it until people starved to death and had to eat dogs and cats in their own shoes and the like. Yeah, that ideology. Okay, so if you're going to say that gay people are socialists, you're actually harming gay people here, because people are going to make the association between gayness and socialism. Do you understand how that works? It's not the homosexuals they have an issue with, it's the socialist part. And socialism is actually gay, if you think about it. According to Carlos Maza, who am I to disagree? I mean, all the newspapers were talking about Carlos Maza. Every single one. And this is a guy which said that the most important point of the press is to gatekeep information. And it's like, well, that's what the communist press did in my country. There was a series of crimes that were committed, and the press wouldn't report on anyone because it was considered immoral to talk about such things. Which means that people would end up sleeping with their door open. I'm not even kidding. And a lot of people who did that were taken advantage of, the criminal elements of society that did exist, despite the fact that the press was gatekeeping that information from the people. And a lot of people fell victims to that. And then you see, Carlos Maza talking against Tucker Carlson, which is like one of the, not one of the, he is the most popular talk show on the entire cable networks. Like, you can't find something with more audience than Tucker Carlson, right? And apparently he needs to be canceled. So you're against the people. You're literally against democracy. You're against the masses. And people, again, associate that mindset with being gay, because Carlos does have the gay identity firmly rooted in who he is as a human being. And not only that, he claims to speak on behalf of gay people, which means that anyone who listens to him is going to be like, holy shit, is this what gay people are doing? My God, I don't want that here. Which is why Eastern Europe, my country not included, but other countries around it, yes, they're not against gay people per se. They don't mind if you do homosexual activities in your bedroom. What they do mind is the gay activism, trying to push socialism, trying to push far-left politics under the Trojan horse of the LGBT. This is why countries like Hungary has pulled out from Eurovision. It's not because they don't like gays. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know, but they definitely do not like the socialist propaganda that's like, hey, do you care about the LGBT? Yeah, I care about the LGBT as well. Let's get together and care about the LGBT. Now let's start communism, what?